set?
Yes.
Okay, good.
There we
Great.
go.
All right. And action.
Action.
Hola, bienvenidos a la cuadra de cuestión. Question block. Yo soy Alejandro. I don't know how to say wires. I would be like Alejandro de la Electricidad. I'm Dr. Wires. Hello.
Wait, are you? I thought you changed your name. I thought
Oh,
you were Wires
of
of
NYC. I go by many names. Tengo muchos nombres.
Ah.
Y conmigo es la chica Ariel.
Ist. Ariel ist.
Arielisma.
Okay. I took a lot of years of Espanol in high school,
And you've
and
retained.
I can understand it, but I can't speak it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Lo siento.
Okay.
This is Question Block, and we're at Secret Loft,
Secret Loft podcast.
reporting live.
And Feliz Cinco de Mayo to everybody.
Yes, and we're gonna talk about the origins. There's some really funny origin, like I LOL'd, and at the Eurocentric part of the origins.
Yeah, as everyone
yeah.
knows, this is a comedy / history educational podcast.
Edutainment.
So, yeah, we wouldn't tell you about it if we didn't think it was like really funny. So it turns out the origin of Cinco de Mayo is there's a lot of really funny stuff in it. There's like hipster emperors.
Yes.
There's a lot of great factoids. So we'll tell you the story of Cinco de Mayo. Then we're gonna do a taste test of some Mexican beers, which are all actually German-style Pilsners, and Ariel will tell us about the history of Corona.
I don't drink alcohol, so I'll tell you about the history of Corona to make up for that. Also, I have a soda that looks like Corona, so we can pretend.
Yeah, we even got the rare varieties. We've got the Tecate Michelada.
Oh wow!
It's like a Bloody Mary. It's a beautiful
the eagle
can.
From the flag, right?
And it does, yes. Tecate uses the eagle from what is that? That's back in like the Aztec myth of the founding
eagle
of Mexico
holding the
City.
snake. Yeah.
And then like Dos Equis has a very cool kind of like Chicano art inspired can.
Dos Equis isn't that like Hemingway? What's the hills like white elephants? Who wrote that story? Is that Hemingway?
I don't know. Well, anyway, they're saying the can says Summer of Dos, which is funny because they could have just said Verano.
They order Dos Equis in that story. It's by some like
in a Hemingway story.
I don't know if it's Hemingway. It's like one of those.
Maybe I didn't realize they were that old.
One of those white guys. One of those like dark white.
Bukowski.
Guys. Maybe Bukowski.
He's a more.
It's
recent.
about abortions.
All right.
You should read it though. It's a great story, but it takes place, I think, in.
There's your Modelo Negra.
In a Spanish-speaking country.
Modelo Negra can. And then we've got two bottles, of course, the classic Corona.
Yeah. And I'm drinking a diet cream soda, but it looks like a Corona. Also, I don't like lime, so I have like a cool umbrella to put in it. Yeah, I'm a bad.
Who puts a lime in a vanilla cream soda anyway? You're not a psychopath.
I don't. I guess I wouldn't like celebrating Cinco de Mayo the way that Americans celebrate it because I don't drink alcohol and don't like limes. You're allergic to avocados. Between the two of us, all we can do is give you the fun facts.
I do love Mexican food though. Don't get it twisted.
But actually, the city of
Puebla.
Puebla. Okay.
It's confusing because it's a village.
It's the Battle of the Pueblo, or is
the Battle of Puebla?
Puebla.
It's a village, and the name of the village is Village.
Oh wow.
Puebla means village.
Well, we live in the village. We're in Greenwichville, right?
Yeah.
So
La Puebla de Greenwich.
Yeah. So we're in the village of Village.
It could be like village or town, but yeah.
They're famous for mole poblano, that like the sauce that no one can make right on the
savory chocolate sauce.
Yeah, I know. I only know that like you should never try to make it in like a cooking thing, because they always competition because they always get in trouble because like they always like try to make it real quick.
It's extremely hard to balance the flavors.
The judge is like, you should never try to do this quickly. You should never.
Well, you have to roast peppers poblanos to do it too, and that's
it's
gonna take you ages. Yeah.
Don't make it quickly, but that's their local cuisine. Also, other than Puebla, no one in Mexico really celebrates Cinco de Mayo. It would kind of like be like us celebrating Veterans Day.
Yeah, by getting drunk and having doing a bunch of racist stereotypes, it'd be like Mexico celebrating American Veterans Day.
Yeah.
By dressing as like Civil War soldiers and getting drunk.
No, by dressing like basic bitches, because it's not even when people celebrate Cinco de Mayo, they're not dressing as like
they're not dressing
Mexican generals and stuff.
General Zaragoza.
They're dressing as like the stereotype of what they think every person in Mexico looks. So I actually want to see that. Like if you're in Mexico, you should celebrate International Pumpkin Spice Day, whatever day that is, and just dress like a Karen and Instagram that shit, and I would love it.
Just celebrate American Veterans Day, but dress as like a white trash and cut your sleeves off and shoot a bunch of guns.
Or like a tech bro, yeah.
Yeah, I think the view of Americans abroad is probably the sunburned,
the gun toting, yeah.
They're not people. They're sending their people over the border to Mexico. It's not their best. It's the sunburned Southerners. It's not the tech bros. It's the ones we hate.
Okay, so let's talk about this.
Let's get to the history.
Cinco de Mayo is not Mexican Independence Day. That happened, I believe, 40 years before Cinco de Mayo.
El Grito de Dolores is by a Mexican priest. In 1821. It was called the Cry of Dolores.
The Cry of Pain?
I think this was also a village named Dolores.
I want to live in that. That's so metal. Oh my God.
This priest named Hidalgo lived there, and he basically roused the townspeople to declare independence from Spain. In 1821.
Okay.
But
okay.
If I just say bigger picture, Mexico had a very
19th century.
Very complicated 19th century.
Their 19th century was basically I guess most people's 2020.
Most people's 20th century.
Oh, okay. I mean, I had a great 2020, but I think most people didn't like it, so whatever.
Yeah.
So they declared independence. There was a lot of involvement from France and Britain and
the independence movement
Austria.
Started in 1821, but unlike the American Revolutionary War was a couple years. The Spanish War for Independence was 12 years.
Yeah.
So it took forever. They finally are independent. Then there's the Mexican American War, where the U.S. basically seizes Texas and California. Texas was its own secession. In the 1840s, then Mexico has its own civil war between the conservative Catholics and the liberals.
And there's the first, the Battle of the Puebla takes place in the second war of Mexico, Mexican
French intervention,
second French intervention. The first French intervention is called the Pastry War because so they were in Mexico because Mexico owed them a bunch of money from France trying to help them, and all these other countries that were trying to help Mexico, they were like, ooh, maybe we can take it and get closer to the U.S. I think that's the kind of what I gathered.
During the second intervention or during the Pastry War?
Before the Pastry War. So a lot of countries that I had mentioned, France, Britain, Austria, they had all given Mexico a bunch of money to help them fight for their independence.
Yeah.
And so Mexico hadn't paid that back yet.
So these were all proxy wars with Spain too, right?
Can I talk about the Pastry
Mexico
War?
was a Spanish territory, so it was a good way to fuck with Spain, which was going bankrupt at the time anyway. Was to support Mexico in their drive for independence.
So there were a lot of French people living in Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
And the Pastry War, I forget the year. I'm sorry. It was because a bunch of it was, I don't know if it was the conservatives or the liberals, but a bunch of them were fighting and they destroyed this pastry shop, and the French guy who owned the pastry shop was really pissed about it, and I swear, this is Wires of NYC is giving me the side eye right now.
But shoot out in a pastry shop.
They just like destroyed it, right? And so he was really pissed, and
oh God, they didn't even just damage it.
They destroyed it. And the French guy was like, "Sacre bleu, my pastries, my crepes."
So this led to
well, he went to I think Juarez, right? One of the rulers in Mexico, and he was like, "You got to pay for this shit." And
he went to the president to ask to have his pastry shop repaired.
Yeah, well, he was saying that he wanted like 10,000 pesos. I think that the pastry shop was like valued at 1,000, but he was like, because my feelings are hurt, I want more. And when Mexico said no, he was like, fine, I'm going to go back to France and I'm going to tell on you guys for destroying my pastry shop. And France, they were still kind of pissed because they wanted their money back. So they took this as an excuse to like, they were like, okay, we'll go to war with you, Mexico, to get our money. And that kind of petered out. And then
when was the first French incursion?
You can look that up. It's not really super important. I don't really care. It's just funny. The pastry war is just funny. Yeah, it was a real jaunt researching the pastry war.
It's funny. There's a bakery in Houston called the Pastry War, which is really offensive.
Can you imagine if France and Mexico had like gotten along better? We could have like French Mexican food. What do you think that would be? Would that be like snail tacos?
It's a little dismissive. The French kept trying to take over Mexico. They couldn't get along.
Well, no, but what kind of food do you think we would have gotten from that if they had been BFFs instead of enemies forever?
I guess the closest I've had Vietnamese tacos, which were great, which is French inspired by way of Asia.
Yeah, but what would be French? Would it be a crepe taco?
It'd be weird.
Would it be a crepe with a hard outside?
Or it'd be like duck confit inside a taco.
Okay. All right. I'm really glad that they actually were not friends. That sounds gross. Yeah, duck is gross.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you're right. The pastry war just... It fits right in there before the Mexican-American War and after independence.
Yep. It's just a little boop. It's like, hey.
God, nonstop.
Nonstop. They didn't get any rest. But, honey, they still look fabulous. Okay.
Yeah, French forces sent by King Louis Philippe.
Meanwhile, so there's this, like, parallel story of... this guy named Maximilian I.
Wait, no. We have to. It's before Maximilian, though.
What is?
Before Maximilian. We have to. Okay, so go back to the Civil War because that's how they got in debt. That's an important setup here.
You can talk about that. I don't.
Okay.
I already said they were in debt.
Okay, so you've got the conservatives who are very
the Mexican
Catholic.
Civil War. I thought you meant the
American
American, because the American Civil War is about to happen.
That's important too.
Yeah.
So the Mexicans. By the way, I've opened the Corona and Modelo, and Ariel, you can describe the differences.
Okay, I don't know which is which. One of them is darker and one of them is lighter.
Yeah, they're both light yellow beers, but the Modelo is a little bit darker.
Okay, talk about the Civil War.
So, yeah, you've got the conservatives who are Catholic who want a very federal government and possibly even a monarchy. They want like a much
They want
more,
a monarchy. It's not even possibly. They want a
Okay.
monarchy. They actually do they set it up twice. One of these times is a spoiler alert. We're going to talk about that. And one of them, they set up...
And meanwhile, the liberals want a democracy. Mexico has just emerged from being like a client state of Spain. So they still have there's a form of serfdom. So there's sort of slavery or the equivalent, basically. It's like pretty shitty place for the proletariat, for the common people. So the liberals want kind of land reform and a bunch of other reforms. They want universal voting, not for women, of course, because it's still the 19th century.
Well, because they weren't people. I mean, come on.
But
who are we kidding?
In general, they want more education, stuff like that. Fair
Yeah,
wages.
and their leader is Benito Juarez.
Yes.
Yeah.
Benito Juarez.
Benito Juarez, and he's born. I love how there's just the sound of like beers opening. None of these I am opening. I am drinking a cream soda.
I'm just setting up our taste test here.
And it's delicious. Yeah, Benito Juarez was born very poor. His parents died at the age of 3, and he's a man of the people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's a man of the people. He's a socialist. He's against Catholicism. He wants separation of church and state.
Yeah, it's because, right, like none of this is happening in a vacuum, so Mexico, or the Mexicans, can see what's going on in America, for example, too. So they know that, right, and like Mexican independence is 1820s, right? American independence was like, right, 1780s or whatever.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the Mexicans very much are inspired by like the American founders' sort of ideals of like having a republic, like a democratic republic and everything. So they want this too. And the Americans were inspired by the French Revolution. Anyway, so history, everybody like gets good ideas from each other.
Yeah.
But so the Civil War happens, it drags on for like, several years. And like both sides borrow heavily to like fight this war. Mm-hmm. And it pretty much like, there like isn't a central government because it's a civil war, but both sides like go heavily into debt. Eventually the liberals win. They install Benito Juarez into power.
Yeah.
He is the president of the new like Republic of Mexico, and they have, a pretty liberal constitution. They start getting ready to like push all these reforms through.
Yeah. But these other countries that gave them money, they're like, yeah, we want our money.
So,
but they're so stupid, those other countries, because it's like, dude, they only like invested in them because they wanted to get closer to America, and they could see that shit was going down in America, so they were like, we can like slip it in while they're not looking, you know.
So one of the first things Benito Juarez does when he comes to power is he says, we're not going to pay back any of the debt for 2 years. He issues like a law passed by the Parliament or whatever, no debt repayment for at least 2 years. We need to get our shit together. And the main debtors are the British, the Germans, and France. And, they loaned to both sides of the war. And they're like, basically they went to the liberals who won, and they're like, you have to pay the conservatives' debt as well. Yeah. And Benito Juarez is like, no, you guys backed the wrong group. I'm not paying the debts of like our
and
enemies.
He was like, I didn't expect to win. He was like, we're the underdogs. Like, who would have bet on us? Like, I didn't have a plan. And he really didn't expect. It was just like, I was only focused on like fighting. And now that we won, like...
Well, there's no...
Yeah,
you don't worry about paying back the debt. He's like, I need to not lose this war and be executed as a traitor first. Yeah. So the British, Germans, and the French signed the tripartite agreement together, and they all agree. They're like, let's go shake down Mexico and get our money back.
It was like the Austrians. The Austrians? Is it Austrians? Germans? Okay.
No, it was actually the... French, British, and Germans. Not the Austrians.
Okay.
No. They come in a little bit.
Okay.
But they actually weren't owed money at this point. Or they weren't in the tripartite agreement.
Tripartite.
Okay. So they send an expeditionary force. And so the plan from the European powers is like, let's go capture the port of Veracruz. It's a major trading port on the east coast of Mexico, like in the Caribbean. Or in the Gulf of Mexico, and we'll basically hold it for ransom until the Mexican government pays us. That should be easy.
But upon getting there, like, the Germans and the British were kind of like, I think we'll go. Like, because they could see that the French were like...
Well, they did. Like, they did. They conquered Veracruz with, like, no resistance, and they held it for a couple months.
Okay, so Napoleon III... He basically lived in the shadow of his uncle, who's Napoleon.
So at this time, Napoleon III is emperor of the Second French Republic.
Yeah, but he doesn't have any good military history like his uncle, and he wants everyone to remember him as the Napoleon and not be like, well, not that Napoleon, like, So he's like, really set on like getting all of Mexico and also kind of sneaking into America while America's like distracted doing their own civil war. And once
a couple of things are going on. Napoleon III he wants to support the South in the Civil War, for one, but also he like would love to conquer Mexico.
Okay, thank you for summing up. Thank you for mansplaining what I just said. I mean, there's lots of theories about that. About what you like. There are lots of theories about like him wanting to go, like him wanting Texas or all different sorts of things. Like why he was so gung ho about his plans in Mexico. But really, once Germany and Britain sort of like saw this, they were kind of like, yeah, we're not like that interested, and they left. Is that?
They signed an agreement with the Mexicans they took over Veracruz, and Benito Juarez was like, okay, we can speed up the repayment plan. I'll give you guys something. If you like, please don't hold on to my port city because I need to make money to pay you guys back. So they were like, okay, they signed a new agreement basically on like a debt repayment plan.
Okay.
So they
refinanced.
But while this is happening over the winter, while they're holding Veracruz, like negotiating this new treaty, the French keep landing troops. And they land more troops over on the Yucatan Peninsula and like conquer other like cities, like port cities. And so like the British and Germans are also like, oh, all right, the French are like kind of going overboard here. And so the French sign the agreement as well, but they don't leave. And so the Germans and the British are like, okay, I see you guys are, and so they just like sort of like sail back to their respective countries, and they're like, yeah, just send us the check when you guys are ready to pay us. Yeah. But yes, the French now, they're ready for conquest.
Yeah.
And the U.S. Civil War has now started.
Okay.
So normally America would be
what is it? Not manifest.
The Monroe Doctrine.
The Monroe Doctrine. The opposite of manifest destiny. The Monroe Doctrine was like, if we see you like with your hands on our cookie jar, we're gonna freaking cut those hands off. But the Americans are distracted, so they kind of, because all these other countries in Mexico is a violation of the Monroe Doctrine. But the Americans are distracted, so they don't really do anything.
So this actually was relevant during just last year, the whole Ukraine thing with like Trump, for example, is that one reason it was such a big deal is they felt that like, the U.S. was trying to get Ukraine to dig up dirt on Joe Biden's son, but they basically felt that like Ukraine was getting involved in American politics.
Yeah. And
so they were like, it is a sacred, totally unfair thing that the U.S. has held for over 200 years, which is if any other country messes in U.S. internal politics, it's an act of hostility. So that's what that's what the doctrine is. So that's why the British, who had just recently lost multiple wars to the Americans, right, and like the Germans were not interested in pissing off the United States. So getting involved in Mexico could be interpreted as interfering in American politics.
I mean, it was. They were just like, be very, very quiet. The Americans, they're busy right now. It was like, Don't Wake Daddy. You know that game? Mm-hmm. That like board game? They were like, okay, we're gonna... This is Bam. This is Bam Margera. And it's 4 a.m.
This is the second French incursion in Mexico. We're gonna sneak in.
We're gonna sneak in. We have to be very Mexico quiet. City. America's like, damn it, Bam! I gotta work in the morning. Stop touching Mexico. That's mine.
Damn it, Napoleon III.
Napoleon III. You can't be coming in here touching Mexico. Also, okay, it's really funny. So like the first time the French, the first like Franco-Mexican war was the pastry war, right? And this one is called like the Mexican Adventure, I believe. Like there were all these like really shitty names that the French called the second involvement.
Okay, so now we're ready. We've set the table.
Yeah.
Now it's time. So the French basically, they continue building up forces over the winter. And then they march and basically start heading towards Mexico City. And Veracruz is pretty much due east of Mexico City. It's not too far overland. So they quickly conquer like 2 other cities as they move inland from Veracruz. And then they get to, and the Mexicans are still like, right, they've just finished a civil war. They do not have a large army. And so they, rush to defend like whatever cities they can on the way to Mexico City. And so where they meet up is the Mexican general Zaragoza has a group of, I think, 3,000. He has like
2,000.
He has 2,000 men at the city of Puebla, or I guess the Puebla of Puebla. And so in Puebla, but Puebla fortunately has a really good fortress, like an old big ass like stone fortress.
And the terrain is like sketch AF. So if you don't know it, you are fucked.
Well, and he also has the high ground. He has two hills on the east side of town. And so the French are very confident because they believe they are the best.
And they have 6,000.
It's Napoleon III's army. They have 6, so they've got 3 times as many men, and they're
all wearing red, which is very stupid.
And they did wear red.
We're standing there like, look at me.
But it is Napoleon III's army, so they think they're the greatest fighting force in the world.
I mean.
And they
next to like the other Napoleons.
So they decide to charge the strong point of the enemy defenses, rather than just go around them on your way to Mexico City or anything else. They attack the
cocky bitches.
The fortress on the hill directly, and it does not go well.
No. They get screwed.
So they're driven back 3 separate times as they're fighting. And so like they start in the morning, they get a good early start to get their asses kicked.
What do you think they have for breakfast?
Probably croissants.
Okay.
Croissant.
Okay, pastries. Okay.
Yeah, pastries. So they they charge the hill once, are driven back, charge the hill, get a little further, are driven back again, and then they charge a 3rd time. And by the 3rd time, they had used up all their artillery too. So they charge and get driven back, and they don't even have artillery cover. And
who were they were throwing the croissants at that time?
Well, I guess, yeah. And then Zaragoza had waited until this moment to come out of the like fortress, and he like comes out with his cavalry and just mows down the French too.
I love that. He's like, he's like, shh, not yet. Not yet.
No, he waited. And
he was very patient. French people, you have to be more patient.
So, he ends up, I think he loses less than 100 men. The French lose over 500.
Yeah.
They're badly beaten. They have to retreat in disarray, being chased by horses. And so that's the Battle of La Puebla. And then Benito Juarez declares it a national holiday.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's, so spoiler alert, France actually does win this war.
So now we'll tell the rest of the story. So that's the patriotic holiday. That's what we're celebrating today on Cinco de Mayo.
Yeah, but it's like the vibes of that. It's the underdog story of that battle, not like the outcome of the war. It's like.
Yeah, but it's a stirring victory. Good job.
Yeah, and it was a battle that was like fought in a day too.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the other things, like, they went on for a long time, so. And we'll talk
about the 100 Years' War. Am I right?
Yeah.
Well, should we test some beers and then tell the rest of the story of the war, or do you want to continue?
You want to taste, because you have them all poured out.
I poured them all in a line. So.
Okay. I mean, so I can.
You can smell test them.
I can smell test them. So basically, how Cinco de Mayo gets to America is advertising, commercialism, but also, I mean, immigrants. If you notice, there's like St. Patrick's Day. There's Columbus Day from like the Italian immigrants, and Cinco de Mayo's from the Mexican immigrants, like in America, trying to have like a sense of community and have something that like everyone in their community celebrates.
Yeah, so Cinco de Mayo became bigger in among Latino communities in the U.S. in the 60s during the Chicano movement, which is sort of like a Mexican heritage, like cultural appreciation movement, mostly among Mexican Americans.
In Los Angeles and Texas, I think?
Yeah. And then it became a national holiday because of beer companies.
Yeah. So the Corona company, I guess, is actually a German company. And there were a lot of Germans that moved to Mexico, just because they found it a lot more chill than Germany.
Mm-hmm.
And they wanted to make a beer that was like that captured the vibes of Mexico where they were stationed, where they were living.
I don't know if they were even trying to do that because it just tastes like German beer.
Well, the vibes, like the chill, like refreshing vibes, like it's less like intense. I've researched. I don't know because I've never tried it. I don't think I've ever like tried beer in my life, to be honest. But
so the Germans make different styles of beer, but a German Pilsner is a very light beer that is pretty much indistinguishable from most Mexican beers.
They put it in a clear bottle so that you could see like the clear. I don't know. I guess it just looks like more summery and like refreshing than like something in like a darker, even like a green bottle. You know, to me personally, like just aesthetically. And then also they started advertising with like the lime because that just signified like you can have your own like vacation. It's like your vacation in a bottle, you know.
I think the lime existed before the advertising execs got to it, actually. From what I don't know if this is true or not, but I've heard it's like also hygienic reasons is because the lime is acidic. It like helps to like if there was any like dirt or like stuff on the neck of the beer, it like cleans it off.
It was actually not hygienic though because a lime is food. And so any bartender that squeezes a lime into your beer without gloves on, that's actually a violation of the food safety like rules.
Yes, that's true. But you hold it by the rind and you just sort
of I don't know. Okay, so you're going to taste test these beers. And then we'll tell you about Maximilian, who's like literally the first like appropriating hipster, and he's hilarious. Okay. And we can all laugh at him.
So I've arranged them in order from lightest to heaviest, and then a specialty beer at the end, the Michelada. Okay. So we'll start with the Corona Extra. Like to smell it.
Oh.
What are you getting there?
Yeah, it smells like a cheap bar to me. It smells like the bar offside downstairs, like that closed downstairs from us. Yeah.
Yeah, it really does smell like a bar, doesn't it?
Like a bad bar, like a not a bad a dive bar. I didn't mean to say bad. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the taste is.
Does it taste just like it smells?
Corona is a super neutral beer. It tastes a little better than it smells, honestly. It smells a little dank. But the taste is very, very neutral, a little bit bitter, but it's subtle. And to be fair, I'm not drinking it with a lime. Some people also put a little salt in it too, and that makes a big difference.
Apparently in La Puebla, you would drink it with a orange. I think
any citrus fruit will do.
I think that's something that I heard on like the Drew Barrymore. There was like some lady that was from there, and she was a chef, and she was on
Drew Barrymore is not from.
No, they were on her show. Okay. It was Ross Matthews and Drew Barrymore, and they were interviewing this like chef from La Puebla, and she was saying.
Before you lose a taste, let's keep on the. Okay. So this is Dos Equis.
This one smells like a cork. Like, literally like a cork. Like, if you juiced a cork.
Yeah, it's funny. The nose of the Dos Equis, they look about the same. They're both a very, like, a pale yellow color.
The Dos Equis has more foam, though.
Yeah, Dos Equis is a little foamier. And then the taste is actually even probably a little more subtle than the Corona. It's a little less sour, too.
When you say subtle, you mean it tastes like water?
Yeah, more water.
Okay.
Even less striking.
Okay,
and then we've got, so those are your two quintessential Mexican light beers, Corona and Dos Equis. And then some people do really love Tecate, but I think Tecate is pretty similar to Modelo, so we'll just do that. So Modelo is the next one. You see this is a little bit darker.
Okay, yes.
Modelo Especial.
Modelo looks it looks like someone's pee who's like very dehydrated.
Yeah, it's a bit
like
orangey.
very like it's like when they're like you need to drink water if your pee looks like this. Okay.
Your pee looks like trash.
So I think it smells like a cross between the two of them. Like it's a little bit cork like, but it's also a little bit
bar like.
A little bit bar like. It's a bar cork.
Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, it's funny how pungent the Corona was.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Modelo, it's almost like it's more carbonated, like in your mouth even. It's more exciting.
It's like fizzier.
Yeah, it's fizzier.
It's like a fiesta in your mouth.
Yeah, Modelo is my favorite of this, and it's actually like a little sweeter than the others.
Oh. It has like a cool gold foil around the thingy too, around the.
Yeah.
I don't know, the bottle.
Yeah,
It looks like fancy.
I really have no idea. So Modelo is not. I guess none of these. You'll get Tecate is like the bar beer, the cheap like Mexican beer you can get, and then Corona,
the Slipper Room.
Like
shout out the Slipper. Don't the
they
Slipper
serve
Room?
Tecates?
I think they had like a ton of Tecates. I don't know if they were sponsored or something, but like there was one time where there was just like so many in there, and that's their like house.
It's their house beer.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like having an exotic Budweiser almost.
Okay.
It serves the same function. Whereas Modelo is generally regarded as like a step up in like beer tiers. And the Modelo makes two kinds of beer. So this is the Negro Modelo, which is a dark Modelo.
Okay. So that one smells like cork. Wait, cork and like a
little molasses caramel.
Yeah, like cork and caramel.
Yeah, and it's definitely more. It is now not a light beer. This is Modelo Negro is like an amber. Yeah, it's not actually black. It's
this
more
would
of a
be
dark
like
amber
you
color,
have hepatitis
but,
if your pee looks like this.
Yeah, it's also not good too. But okay, and then we'll do the last one, which is for fun.
Like orange. It looks orange.
Yeah. Yes, because this is a Tecate Michelada.
That's not how you. Isn't it like orange? Is that naranja? No.
Yeah.
Ah! It's all coming back to me. It's a Cinco de Mayo miracle.
It's almost a pink color.
Let me see.
Because they put tomato juice.
Oh.
And pepper in it. It's a Bloody Mary.
Okay.
/ beer.
Oh my God! It smells like V8, but it doesn't look like.
It smells like V8. Yeah.
Oh no! I'm scared for you.
No, it's actually if you like Bloody Marys, which I do, it's delicious.
Okay, yeah.
It's like having a light Bloody Mary because Bloody Marys use vodka and they're more intense.
I like V8. I would drink a V8.
This is a good health fanatics. If you're trying to get more vegetables, you can have a Michelada.
Wait, and that's by the Tecate company or no? It's its own company.
Yeah, this is Tecate made a Michelada flavored beer.
Got it. Okay, because that's like a drink that they have. Okay.
Yeah, usually you get it in a bar, and they just make a Bloody Mary and stick a Corona in it sometimes. They do. This is go to what's that Dallas barbecue at St. Mark's?
Oh my god! They stick 8 Corona.
You get a pitcher of tomato juice, and they put 6 Coronas in it. That's the drink.
And then that's your tombstone.
Here, you're going to spill this all over the fucking
table. You're going
table.
to die. You're going to feel like it. Yeah, you're going to feel like the French after their Battle of La Puebla.
Well, the irony is it's actually a very low alcohol drink because it's mostly tomato juice with light beer.
True. Oh, yeah. Oh, fun fact. More beer is consumed on Cinco de Mayo than on St. Patrick's Day. And you had a theory of why that is.
We're doing our part here.
You had a theory of why that is. And that is your theory. What is your theory?
Wait, so it's... Yeah, even more beer on Cinco de Mayo than St. Patrick's Day.
Yes.
Is it more than any other day?
I think it's the third the third moat. I don't know the third.
Oh, what?
Most
Do you know? Do you remember the other days?
No.
Okay.
Sorry.
This isn't a show about drinking statistics, so come on.
I'm so bad with numbers. Like the fact that I remembered like any numbers today is a miracle.
The Super Bowl has to be in the top 2.
Okay, but let's. What's your theory?
Because on St. Patrick's Day, the things you actually drink are Jamesons, which like how many of those are you really gonna have, and Guinness, and it's how many Guinnesses you're gonna have? Thick. It's the heaviest really beer.
Thick. It's a thick boy.
Yeah, on St. Patty's Day, you're not having more than like 2 Guinnesses, and then maybe you'll have like 6 Jamesons and fall down blind drunk. But like on Cinco de Mayo, you could drink 6 Coronas with your amigos and like still get up for work the next day.
There you go.
So that's why it's a very sensible holiday. When you think about
it's very sensible.
Let's celebrate this military battle by drinking some light beers.
Oh, also there's like food. I just thought of this. There's like foods that go with it that you could get at a bar. So like guacamole. I mean, I know it's not authentic, but like guacamole and whatever. And so like that will absorb the alcohol. So maybe, but like St. Patrick's Day, they're not like, oh yeah, have like potatoes like at the bar, like that. That's not a thing.
Yeah, last year, at the start of the year, pre-coronavirus, there was a meme that people would post because they were like, 2020 is going to be the best year. Halloween is on a Saturday and it's a full moon. Cinco de Mayo is on Taco Tuesday. And I was like, okay. And there are a couple others. Because Halloween was also, I think,
a blood moon.
The end of daylight savings time, so you got an extra hour on it. It was
okay.
Yeah, last year would have been a great party year. But anyway,
it was a great party year for us.
As you were saying, there's there's tacos, there's guacamole, there's like there's
like food that absorb the beer, so
really
you can
good
keep
bar
drinking.
Foods, yeah, that go with it.
St. Patrick's Day, if you want people to drink more, you gotta I don't know.
You're eating a shepherd's pie.
Yeah, you gotta get some shepherd's pie up in that bar.
Which is delicious.
So, should we talk about Maximilian, my favorite hipster boy?
All right, that was our.
I've been waiting for
our refreshment interlude. Please tell us the rest of the history of the second
and you can
French
interrupt
incursion.
too. You can like totally interrupt. I love when you interrupt. It's my favorite thing. It's my favorite.
Tell us. So what happened after the Battle of Puebla?
So basically the Mexicans they lose the war.
No.
Yeah. Sorry. Ooh, yikes. Okay. And Napoleon.
Wait, let me interrupt with one little point. Benito Juarez, the Juarez government evacuates Mexico City.
But they're still around. Yeah,
they fight basically a long retreat with guerrilla warfare all the way up to the northern border of Mexico in what is now Ciudad Juarez.
Gag.
That's why it's named after him.
Oh my God. The more you know.
Later, 3 years later, they stage a comeback. But for now, they're out of power. The French have taken over Mexico.
Yeah. And Napoleon III, he really wants to put a puppet government in place that is going to like a pawn. He wants to put a pawn in there.
Mm-hmm. A rube.
Yeah.
Some hipster doofus.
Yes, because
who loves Mexican culture.
Well, this he did not know. This is why we know Napoleon and not Napoleon III.
To be fair, one cool thing, Napoleon III, responsible for basically the layout of France currently and a ton of very cool architecture.
Okay, his main contribution. All right, we'll talk about him on the architecture podcast.
We will.
So, yeah, he's like, I need a dumbass who will, I can basically whisper in the dumbass's ear and we'll just sort of
some noble inbred.
Some noble some noble dumbass who will be an emperor, the emperor of Mexico.
And ideally has a claim, some sort of claim to the former Spanish colony's throne.
Right, because they want to get the church powers flowing again in Mexico.
Yeah, Napoleon he's been talking to the conservatives too, who lost the Civil War, right? Who still want Juarez out of power.
Yeah.
And he's been like, what if I gave you a monarch like you were looking for?
Yeah,
and
a
like,
monarch
yes,
who's like really conservative.
Catholic Church,
yeah.
monarch, we are all about it. Let's suppress the proletariat again. Let's do it.
So Maximilian, his brother is the Emperor of Austria, and his mom is like pretty cool. His dad is quoted somewhere. I read that his dad was a dimwit who spent his days like eating dumplings, eating like dumpling soup.
So the
Austrian
Habsburgs, right, notoriously very inbred family.
Very inbred. Maximilian was like, he was like super like blue, so
I'm sure his parents were like,
blood.
His parents were probably pretty closely related to each other, as were his grandparents, etc., all the way back.
But he really couldn't, like, he didn't have, like, all this pressure on him. Like, there was so much pressure on him that there wasn't. Like, he was like, I'm never going to live up to my brother, so, like, whatever. So he got into some traveling, and he got into, like, some socialist ideals, and, just, he liked banging chicks he was doing a little taste test of his own around the world with some ladies. A lot of them were like, you're not good enough for me. He would like fall in love with them, and they would like dump his ass.
So Maximilian's entire life was a gap year, basically.
Yeah.
Just traveling around. He had red hair.
Yeah. Okay. Wait. Also,
he was a pelirrojo.
His brother kept trying to like help him out, and so he was like, why don't you take over the Austrian naval force, which is very LOL today because Austria is like a landlocked place. But at the time, the Austrian Empire included like every European country pretty much that aren't like the big one. Like it had like, I don't know, like Hungary.
Yeah, they must have had a route to the sea.
Syria somehow. And like just all
Maybe it did have Syria. Yeah,
no, it did. It did.
Okay, so they had some Middle East possessions too. So they're sailing around.
He actually did a really, really freaking good job with the Navy, and his brother was like, "Sweet." I think, and he gave him something else, and like Maximilian fucked that up. Like he didn't do as good of a job. So his brother was like, "I need to get this dude out of here. Like, how can I get him out of here?" And Napoleon III was like, "Hey, maybe we can get your dumbass brother out of here, and I can have my puppet monarch." Mm-hmm. And they were like, "Sweet." Napoleon III didn't do any research into like the politics or like inner workings of Maximilian. He just was like, yeah, he's dumb, so he checks out. The
Habsburgs also like they had their family line had a legitimate line back to the Spanish crown. Yeah. So that they could claim that like he actually was the rightful heir.
They were like, oh, he's the next in line, which is like what?
So they would be like, the conservatives could be like, he is our monarch.
Yeah.
It makes sense. He's descended from who should have been our king.
Mexico had like legit like 70 different kinds of like power structures in the 5 years. Like it was something insane. They did try like an emperor situation, a monarch before, and then that didn't work. Then they had like a democracy.
Oh, you mean like post-independence?
Yeah, I mean they were just like running through it. So like he might as well be the next in line. Like they were just making shit up at that point. So, but Maximilian was like, you know what? I don't want to be the emperor unless the people vote for me. And he was like, this is like my sticking point. They need to want me.
This is where Napoleon should have been like, wait, and you're going to rule with an iron fist?
Yeah, but he was he was also stupid. So yeah, so they Napoleon III is like, okay, sure. And they hold like a fake election, and they're like, yeah, 100% of the people want you. And Maximilian and his wife.
And this is where Maximilian should have been like, wait, this country that just emerged from a civil war like a couple years ago?
Yeah, right.
They unanimously voted to have a monarch. Yeah. a European monarch rule the
So
country.
he went over there with Charlotte of Belgium, his wife,
Mm-hmm.
and Charlotte, she married him because she was like, oh, it's really like hot that he's into like all these other, like he's like a man of the world or whatever, but he actually wasn't that like focused on her, and he was into socialism, if you know what I mean, in more ways than one. So Charlotte was kind of like, she was a little bit bummed out, but she was kind of excited about going to Mexico because she was like, oh, like me and Maximilian can like build the country like back up together, and like it's like a fun project for us, and maybe he'll stop like sleeping around because he'll have to like stay in the castle with me for a moment. So she got super excited for the journey, and she changed her name to Carlotta, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And she started learning Spanish. They went over there. Maximilian, you know, he was wearing the sombreros and shit, and like the capes.
Ponchos.
Ponchos.
He had a poncho period. He got very into it.
He had a poncho
He still was like a redhead and probably very prone to burning.
He looks like a werewolf.
But he had big sideburns.
He looks like a werewolf. Like a redheaded werewolf.
Do you want to hold him
guy?
Up so that people can see who are watching the stream? He looks like the guy who would bring a phonograph to your local coffee shop in Williamsburg. And then play salsa tunes and be like, the only true music is...
I'm finding... Let's see.
Is Mexican laborer songs from the 1840s.
Oh my God. Okay, wait. Music. I just found like a really sexy picture of him as like a boy where he looks like a really, really hot like girl, kind of like.
Okay.
Right. So I'm gonna hold that up.
So please just show it to them.
I'm gonna hold that up.
Show it to them. We need to move on.
And then so there's like this picture where he looks like this sexy. It was like he's holding like a stick too, in like a very phallic way. It's like someone painted this, wanted to get in this little boy's pants. Anyway. Cute and then he's like hot in uniform too with these epaulets. Yeah, he's getting some sideburns
you
though.
Just have one photo and then.
I'm trying to find his like. Oh man, they don't have like the ugly photo. Okay, wait, here we go. Yeah, then we have like super hipster.
He had a good beard and a good chops.
Yeah.
Good mutton chops.
He kind of looks like a. If you look up Birdie from the Nick, he kind of looks like him mixed with like a werewolf.
Okay. Let's move on. That's enough describing the physical characteristics of Maximilian. So how was he as a king?
You mean an emperor?
How was he as the Mexican emperor?
Well, so he was really convinced that the Mexican people had voted for him and wanted him. He was really 100% convinced. And he was very touched by this. So he went there and he basically reinstated all of Juarez's policies. And he kind of like, he like defunded the police. He like kind of defunded the church. He separated religion and state. He funded schools.
He abolished the whole like serfdom caste system, which was like a major deal. Yeah, big deal. And he basically reenacted all the liberal reforms. And the conservatives were like...
They were like, fuck.
They were like, what? This is the whole reason we got a monarch.
They were like, oh my God.
He's supposed to be benefiting the aristocracy.
And the liberals were like, we still hate him. He's white. Like...
Yeah, the liberals were like, well, this isn't as bad as we thought it would be, but... Yeah, you still took over our country. Get the fuck out of
also,
here.
I feel, he was like super, he was like, but I'm wearing your poncho and like I'm playing your instrument and like, and Carlotta was like her ladies in waiting, she was like, I want to get you ladies educated. And they were probably like, we just want to live in the castle with you. Like, stop making us like, like they were probably like, fuck, we just want to be like hot and shit. Like, stop trying to ruin that for us.
Maybe not. Maybe they had dreams of their own.
I don't.
Maybe they wanted to be the queen.
yeah, I feel like their dreams. I mean, for me personally, I would be like, I don't want to know how to read. That gets people in trouble. I just want to like wear pretty dresses and, be in an air conditioned castle.
All right. Well, maybe you wouldn't be wouldn't be a good liberal revolutionary Mexican in the 1860s.
I would not. I would not have been.
Okay. So
but I wouldn't have been an appropriating.
So let's get
a Carlotta.
Right.
I wouldn't change my name to Arielista.
So about 2 years pass, and then Benito Juarez has not gone away, and he's
like, I'm still here. He's like, guess who's back?
The American Civil War ends,
and they're like, wait, they're like, what? What's going on down there? They
knew they had just been too busy, and they were also going bankrupt fighting this war. So and also during the American Civil War, Lincoln in the North supported Juarez.
They were like pen pals, I think.
Yeah, but they didn't want to get involved because they were worried that France, in retaliation, would then support the South and further drag out the Civil War.
Can you imagine French Southern food? That would just be so much butter.
Have you been to Louisiana?
Oh my god, I'm so stupid.
It would be beignets. Yeah.
True.
It would be New Orleans.
It would be like crawfish.
And I think that was part of it, in part because the French territories had been in the South, is why the French kind of supported the Southerners. And who knows, whatever other reasons. Maybe I don't know. It was weird. The French didn't support slavery, so it's weird that they would support the South, but they did. They were inclined to support the South during the American Civil War. So anyway, Lincoln didn't want to get involved. That's why the U.S. had not helped out Juarez prior to that. Civil War ends. The North is, back in control. We're a democracy again. And America provides guns and, support.
Oh, I love the way they do this, though. It's so topical. They legit just, it's like an accident. They just drop that. They're just oops.
Yeah.
They just, drop weapons. They're like, oh, we're taking these somewhere, and then they just, forget them, conveniently.
Yeah, this is how you arm insurgents. I mean...
Yeah. There's just, a lady with, a big skirt, and she just, sits down on a bench and then gets up, and there's, 30 guns, and she's,
Yeah, I mean...
Yeah.
A practice that was really perfected throughout the 20th century by America in funding various, coups and other revolutionary movements, but... It's 1800. It's 1800s. It's a simpler time. So Juarez starts winning some battles. He still has the support of the people.
Oh.
And he starts basically gaining ground back from the French.
And
in 1867.
Maximilian is he's super hurt, but also he's still his feelings are so sad right now, and they're very hurt, but he's the people, they still want me. And he's like, I'm gonna make this decree, and it's gonna be the darkest decree ever. It's called the Black Decree, and he's like, anyone who fucks with me or with my monarchy, I'll murder them.
So this is kind of out of character for Maximilian.
Yeah, but it's because his feelings are hurt and he's emo.
But he does decree that anyone engaged in rebellion, which is basically will be executed.
And he's makes good on it too. He kills mad people.
But
that really restores everyone's faith in him.
Well, this is a really bad way to deal with a revolutionary group that has the support of the people, because now they will never surrender, right? Because you've just told them you're going to execute them if they do. And
France is they're America's France, you better get the fuck out of there. And France is like, oh, we were just going. Okay. And they're like, Maximilian, you gotta go too.
Yes.
And he's like, I will not go. I will not go silently into the night.
At this point, the French they step in and they're like, hey man, this was cool. This was a cool 3 years, but we gotta.
And he's like, no. I don't want to.
Well, Maximilian still believed that he had the support of the people because he was super out of touch and I guess had not yet finished his Spanish lessons to where he could just go ask somebody.
Yeah, and Carlotta, she was like, "I'm gonna go back to Europe and ask for help, and I'll tell you after all this, like, what happened with her."
So Maximilian is like, he's like, "Look, you saw the referendum, 100% support. There's no way that the people want me to leave." I don't believe, and so that, and meanwhile the French
they should have known with those mutton chops, like, dude.
They're like, okay, dude, but like Juarez now has like the support of the entire country and is marching on Mexico City.
And he's like, no.
We've got maybe 5 days to get out of here, and you said that you were going to execute him if you won. So what do you think's going to happen if like Juarez wins? And Maximilian was like, no, la gente. La gente me van a soportar.
Yeah.
And they didn't. The people did not support him. So the French left.
Yeah, French were like, au revoir.
The French troops stood down.
I will smoke my cigarette and I will,
Benito Juarez retook Mexico City in 1867.
Retook. I like that.
And, and then Benito Juarez then enforced the Black
Decree.
This was controversial because some people advised Juarez, they were like, so as not to piss off the Austrians or the French, you maybe shouldn't kill their monarch. You could just send him home.
And he's like, I will send him home dead.
Yeah, Juarez I don't know if it was out of spite or just he was so mad about the Black Decree and having all.
I think so. He was like, oh, now I'm gonna decree your own decree on yourself. I'm gonna give you a taste of your own mole poblano.
Okay. So they executed Maximilian, and his body was sent home on the same ship that had originally brought him to Mexico 3 years earlier.
This is really sweet, though.
What?
So so they sent him. This is not sweet. They sent him to prison right before the execution, the firing squad.
Yeah.
They sent him to prison. They gave him a bunch of books about King Charles, which is like so shady. Yeah, because like also like a monarch who had been executed. Like they're like, here's some reading for you in your cell, right? They took all of his money and like all of his shit except for like a little bit of money that he kept, and he gave it to the firing squad, and he said, please don't shoot me in my face because I want my mother to see my face one last time.
It was very sad, and his last words actually were
I'll pull them up so we can read them because they're like so sweet. It's like, you poor stupid hipster boy.
Yeah, none of this to excuse the whole forcibly taking over a country and that he shouldn't have known better, but very sad.
Oh my God, can I read his full name too?
Let's hear it.
Ferdinand Maximilian Joseph Maria von Habsburg Lothringen. So that's a really white fucking name. Okay.
Spanish name.
Yeah. What were his last words? Oh man.
You passed it.
Oh, I did. Okay.
There you go. I forgive everyone.
I forgive everyone, and I ask everyone to forgive me. May my blood, which is about to be shed, be for the good of the country. Viva Mexico! Viva la independencia! Yeah.
Which
there was a 15-man firing squad.
He was killed for opposing independence. So like, what the hell? It's like, I don't know. I suppose he would have just surrendered.
His body was embalmed and displayed in Mexico, and then it was sent. Yeah, and then it was sent off to Austria.
Yeah.
Also, they kind of fucked up. So they embalmed it, and now it's in Austria, and you can like go look at it if you want. But they I guess his face was kind of spared, except they, when they embalmed it, they had to like take out his eyes and put like glass eyes in, but they got the color wrong. Just little fun trivia fact. So
did he have? Do you think it's because he had blue eyes?
Yeah.
And like the like
they didn't have
the coroner in Mexico is like, dude, we just have brown. What are you talking
about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, wait, people who have blue eyes. Damn it. It's like, yeah, we don't get a lot of European monarchs in the morgue where we have to embalm
in the
them.
embalming morgue.
Yeah, usually we're just doing like Mexican priests. So sorry.
Yeah, that's so he had a jaundiced eye.
That's great.
Even in death.
They must have given him like brown eyes.
Yeah, they did. They did.
That's all
right?
we got.
Isn't that funny?
That's great.
So, you want to talk about, can I tell you about Carlotta real quick?
Yeah, so Carlotta, she went to ask for help in the last days of Maximilian's reign, right? So what happened to her in Europe then?
Well, they were like, we're not going to have, they were like, no, no. We didn't like him.
America told us to get GTFO. We are not going back.
Yeah, and they're like, we don't like him. I forget what the Pope's.
There must have been so many discussions where Carlotta was like, "But what about the referendum?
Yeah, what about like everyone who? Yeah, and they were like, "Girl, like about that.
You didn't believe that. Come on, you believe that?" And she's like, "He's a socialist. He's helping them out."
Yeah, she's like, "Oh my God,
hey,
for the people, hey."
We're just telling the story of the second French incursion in Mexico, which led to Cinco de Mayo.
The Mexican adventure.
The Mexican adventure.
I swear, that's what the...
I believe it.
Yeah, it says in Wikipedia, it was also known as the Franco-Mexican War and the Mexican adventure. That's what the French called it.
So, by the way, the losing side always comes up with a silly name because some certain Southerners like to call it the War of Northern Aggression.
Oh, yeah.
The Civil War. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, Carlotta goes and she asks for the Pope's help.
The Pope?
Yes, the Pope.
Okay.
Do you want to look up?
Oh, I guess because he was a conservative and the conservatives were Catholics. So she's like, "Pope, you got to help out." And the Pope's like, "What?"
Yeah.
He's like, "Who are you?" Okay.
She goes, wait, I'm just seeing like who the Pope's name was because I forgot.
I think he said it was Urban.
I don't think it was Urban.
That might have been several
centuries
earlier.
It was like something that means like friendliness. It was like Pope Pius. I was like friendliness, poorness. Okay, so Pope Pius. She goes to Pope.
Pope friendly.
Pope friendly.
Like, sorry, I can't help you.
Pope good Pope.
Okay.
Well, she then becomes paranoid because I guess you would, right? Because like your husband's like he's poly, right? Because that's the thing. He was like fucking around the globe, even while they were married, and so she's like maybe a little bit paranoid then, checking his tweets and his texts and stuff like that, and
his carrier pigeons.
She's like a little bit, she's like, put the pigeon on the phone, like, right? So she's like a tiny bit paranoid, and then she goes to, she thinks the Mexican people love her, and she kind of gets the vibe that they don't, but and then she goes back to Austria and like Europe, and she asks for help, and she thinks those people like her, and they're like, honey, we never liked you. The Mexican people never liked you. And she's like getting super paranoid, and for some reason she thinks this paranoia all goes into like she thinks that everyone's trying to poison her.
Keep in mind this was also the era of like the Victorians and fainting
couches. Of poisonings.
And, like,
so yeah, I don't know.
I think they believed hysteria was a medical condition caused by having a uterus. There are lots of reasons for her to go crazy.
She was just like
or be diagnosed as being crazy at the time.
She was clearly crazy. Like it's not like she was diagnosed. Like she like bitch stopped eating food. And she was like, I am being poisoned. And she went to Pope Pius. And
she wasn't a Habsburg. She married into the family.
Yeah.
Sorry.
She was a princess of Belgium. And it's really weird. Like France like really wanted to like France and Austria. Like they were like they kept trying to like marry people like Marie Antoinette and like Louis, they were like kept trying to like make friends and stuff through these marriages.
That's how you keep from going to war.
But like it's kept not working. Marriage. So yeah, she was super paranoid. She hasn't eaten in 3 days, and she's looking snatched, honey. Though she's like, I don't even need my fucking corset anymore. I'm a skinny bitch. No, she actually just like, so you guys don't worry about her. She ends up living longer than any of these people. She lives till like 86. Okay.
How many kids did they have?
They could not have kids.
Oh, okay. I see.
Yeah. They could not have kids.
Yeah, Maximilian actually.
They adopted some Mexican children, though. Very Angelina Jolie.
That's amazing.
Yeah. They did. They adopted Maddox, and so she went to Pope Pius, and he was drinking hot chocolate as he do, and she was like, okay, this hot chocolate, it can't be poison because the Pope is drinking it.
I don't know what's an embellishment here, or
it's not. It's a part of the
he
thing.
actually was drinking hot chocolate.
He was. I swear.
Okay.
I swear to Pope Pius.
I don't know
because it's like in his diary, he was like, I was drinking some hot chocolate. The tea was hot. The hot chocolate was hotter, and I was drinking it.
Just trying to get clear. Yeah, he didn't say that in his diary, but he was drinking hot chocolate.
He was.
Okay.
And she started scooping it up with her hand because she was so fucking hungry. And she was like, oh my God, okay, so like it can't be poisoned because the Pope is like drinking it and no one would poison him. So she's like, she has it like all, like she literally has like a shit-eating grin. And she's like, you gotta help me. They're trying to poison me. And Pope Pius is like, he's like, there, I'll get you your own hot chocolate. And he like brings her own, and she's like, I'm not gonna drink this because it's been poisoned. Oh. So it goes, stuff goes on like that. Her like different fringe relatives and the Pope, they kind of like look after her, and there are all these different accounts of like,
it can't be that bad. You're a Belgian, princess.
Yeah.
So they didn't remarry her to anybody?
She too crazy. She too crazy.
Okay.
She just had like this poison delirium. But, she was looking snatched because, she wasn't eating that much. And I guess paranoia keeps you on your feet. She avoided danger, and she lived till like 86 years old. So, yeah, that's what happened to her.
Okay. Well, then, I suppose
kind of
really
anticlimactic, but
sums up the story of the French adventure when they took over Mexico
the
for
French
3
adventure.
years.
The Neptune adventure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then, after that, once Juarez came back into power, there were still... The history of Mexico is rich and varied throughout the rest of the 19th century. But that's a story for another time.
Yeah, it is. So this was like it was like a shorter one. So normally this would be where we plug rave review, and we're like, oh my God, this weekend we're going to have a rave. But this weekend is all about the mothers. So we'll be going to visit some new mothers.
We're going to visit some moms this weekend.
Some moms. So we won't be having a rave review this weekend, but the following weekend it is going to be on.
Mm-hmm. So we'll be back. We will not be having a rave review this Saturday. We will be back Wednesday right here at 8 p.m. Talking about plants. Talking about horticulture.
Hunty.
And then next Saturday we'll be having...
We're going to have a plant rave.
A house plant.
A house plant.
A deep house plant.
We're going to be talking about house plants and desert plants and rainforest plants and flowers and cacti, succulents.
Yeah, we'll be blooming.
Yes, it's going to be Bloomsday for everybody, even though that already happened. But a lot of people have been requesting, shout out to the people who have been requesting a show and a rave about plants and flowers and the like. If you would like to request a topic for us, you can comment, you can DM on Instagram at Secret Loft NYC. You can leave us a 5-star review and suggest only 5-star reviews. That's all. That's the only star that we accept. The only payment that we accept.
True. Very true.
Yeah.
And if you're listening to this on podcast, I hope you like the sound of our voices. I'm sorry you didn't get to see us in person. But,
if you want to, though, you can watch. There's a IGTV video. There's a YouTube video.
And follow us at twitch.tv/secretloft.
Yeah.
And then you'll be notified when we're live on video next time.
True. Yes. And thank you so much for, just vibing with us. And, happy Feliz Cinco de Mayo. We learned a lot. I learned a lot. I learned so much.
I learned a lot from this podcast.
I did. I knew that Cinco de Mayo wasn't Mexican Independence Day. I did know that. But,
I wanted to summarize.
Yeah.
If we can close with a little fun. I read,
yes.
it was an article, and it was like top Google searches using the word Cinco de Mayo to illustrate like how clueless Americans are.
What?
So a great one is like, when is Cinco de Mayo?
Ah, that's great. Oh my God, people are so stupid. I do have like some fun.
That was a good one. Another was is Cinco de Mayo Day of the Dead?
That's wow. Honey, every day is Day of the Dead.
And
the dead are all around us.
My favorite was Cinco de Mayo mayonnaise ? Because it's Cinco de Mayo.
Oh my God, that would just be like sriracha mayo, which is delicious. Yeah.
No, sriracha is from Thailand. It'd be like Tabasco mayo, if there were such a thing.
Yeah. Oh my God, this is my favorite fact.
All right, let's end on this.
Okay.
Let's hear it.
Okay, so in Denver and Arizona, they hold an annual Chihuahua race of Chihuahuas, like the dog. Oh my God, they're so cute. Chihuahuas are so cute. Oh, I love their little heads. Oh my God. Oh yeah, so like the war, if we did it in dogs, it would be like
We said
French bulldogs and Chihuahuas.
If they were to do the equivalent of the puppy bowl that they do for the Super Bowl, but Battle of Puebla, it would be 6,000 French
I'm dead.
bulldogs.
I would die. I would be the casualty. I would be like
2,000 Chihuahuas facing off
against 6,000 French
6,000
bulldogs.
French bulldogs.
And honestly, like the French bulldogs would lose because they would not agree of which direction. They're not very unified.
But they're also trying to like run up a hill towards a fortress.
And they'd be like,
and the chinchillas are just trembling in fury.
Wait, you mean the Chihuahuas?
The Chihuahuas, sorry.
I mean, because that would be a whole nother chinchillas against French bulldogs.
That'd be a rodent battle. I misspoke.
Yeah, with the tails whooping around.
Yes.
We can do that. We can make it happen.
All right, we'll leave you with that visual image. So thanks so much for joining.
Yeah, I'm like beside myself right now.
Let me pull up our outro Cinco de Mayo song.
Yeah, there's a really great Cinco de Mayo playlist on Spotify.
Yeah, it's called My Set Next Weekend.
Yes.
Well, no, it won't be Cinco.
Well, no, it can be. We can do it for like one of the flower regions.
Okay.
Yeah. You snapping, or is that your more?
I'm doing these little